Hello and welcome to Horde of Tales. I am your host, GM, and solo player this evening, Chrifu Bernal. My pronouns are he, him. And thank you, Deuteruni. We had some technical difficulties because it's been a while since I've last streamed. I'm very excited to be here streaming tonight a solo Pathfinder 2e adventure called Blood on Black Stone. You can get this on Pathfinder Infinite if you enjoy tonight's game and want to try for yourself. I'm hoping it won't end in a TPK, which, I guess that would be total player kill in this regard. I have some experience with solo Pathfinder games. You may have caught my stream last year when I streamed the solo adventure from the PF2E beginner box, Pirate King's Plunder. And a few years ago on my own channel, I also streamed the first book of the Skull and Shackles adventure path by myself. So playing two main characters plus an assortment of NPCs. So yes, I have some experience with it. This is, as I said, available on Pathfinder Infinite by Nicholas Potter from Sustain a Spell. Hopefully there will be more solo adventures. This is the only solo adventure on the Pathfinder Infinite website. So, yeah, I'm excited to see what happens. Tonight, I am playing Antimony, I'm playing Antimony, a human Nephilim witch, level 2. I took the free archetype at level 2, and I went with Rogue, so that I could get some light armor, because, yeah, I'm nervous. I mean, a witch is pretty squishy, especially playing by yourself. And I wanted to make sure that I had at least a little bit of protection going into this. As I mentioned, Antimony is a Nephilim, so she was born touched by the outer planes. And specifically, she was born I think it's referred to as a shackleborn. So she is touched by the Chitons, the chain devils of the netherworld, the shadow plane, those who serve Zun Cthon. And that is specifically because she is Nidalese. She was born and raised in the land of Nidal, which you might be familiar with, is a land covered in eternal shadow, where all of its peoples are beholden to Zun Cthon, the lawful evil. We're the remaster, we're getting rid of alignment. Zun Cthon, the deity of darkness and chains and shadows and BDSM, the Cenobites of the Pathfinder universe. Antimony is different as far as the rest of her Nidalese compatriots go. Being born chainborn, shackleborn, is that correct? I think so. She was raised with a lot of privileges in Nidal, but eventually found that she didn't agree with the way this country was run, and found herself coming under the tutelage of an imperial dragon, a celestial dragon, who is her patron. And so she does have the celestial. I built this character like 2-3 weeks ago, so she has the Faith's Flamekeeper patron, which gives her divine spells. This dragon, this moon dragon, as it were, was a worshiper of Desna, and thus taught her about how to worship Desna. And so she is a believer of Desna, and is a secret believer of Desna, for that is highly illegal in Nidal. Desna and Zun Cthon are as far apart on the alignment chart as you can be. And so in the darkness, she worships the moon and the light that comes through it. But she needs to, in order to do her work, she has to stay and fly under the radar. She also has a familiar. I went with a special familiar, a small fire wisp. I imagine a blue fire wisp that's sort of, I think it's like tiny, that sort of walks along the ground behind her or rides on her shoulder. named Chandra. Chandra doesn't burn her, although I don't think it burns anyone. I don't think Chandra burns quite hot enough because familiars don't necessarily always have attacks. And so I imagine it's just sort of like a warmth and that Chandra provides, and a small like bit of candlelight that Chandra provides. And I made this character in line with this adventure today. So as we scroll down, we can go into the introduction. You are a secret adherent of Desna, living in Zon-Kuthon-controlled Nidal. Nidal? Despite the tyrannical god's iron grip on the nation and its people, you believe in a brighter future and work together with others from your sect to provide relief for those who suffer and possibly a way out to a better life. You kept your operations secret and ran a tight ship. Oh, so Antimony is the leader of this sect, perhaps. But recently, on a trip to the home of Barrett Carpenter, a close friend and comrade, you saw signs of forced entry, a struggle, and kidnapping. Knowing that Barrett could be forced to undergo horrific torture, and that his capture puts the rest of your comrades in danger, you set out immediately to try and rescue him. So we see Antimony, a tall, lithe, pale woman with dark red lips. I've tried to do a little bit of makeup and white silver sheen on her eyelids, wearing all black and a cloak made of black and blue feathers. I love this cloak. I bought this for Halloween last year, and I literally use any excuse I can to pull it out and put it on. Ever since Dragon Age, I've always wanted like a feather mantle because all the mages there have them. We see her go into Barrett Carpenter's home, this tall, slender, pale woman wearing dark black feathers, maybe a black feather dress, but hobnailed boots that sort of clamp along the wooden floor here. And maybe coming out of the feather shoulders, we see a small blue fire wisp that sort of trails down her arm and onto a table looking around. They look at each other and begin communicating in Draconic. Let's see if I can find her voice. Where's Carpenter? Chandra, do you sense anything? No, something must have happened. I don't know. Is that Chandra's voice? I guess so. I don't know what else to do with a tiny fire wisp. I imagine something sort of like Calcifer from Howl's Moving Castle, just blue. They nod to each other and head out. First off, let's check the rules. While you traverse the dungeon, keep track of how many dungeon turns you take. A dungeon turn is 10 minutes amount of time, the amount of time necessary for many exploration activities such as treat wounds or a refocus, which I'll need. I have a couple healing scrolls, but I also have a healing focus spell that'll be one of my main sources, and I imagine I'm going to need to heal. So starting my notes. Dungeon turns every 10 minutes. Okay. Perfect. We see Antimony, Chandra now climbing back up onto her shoulder and maybe hiding a little bit. It is candlelight, and we are used to working under cover of darkness. So Chandra has had to learn how to hide her flame. When the two of them follow the trail left by the kidnappers, coming upon an old abandoned well. Let's see if I can't zoom this in. Does this work? No, okay, let's keep it where it was then. There we go. We come upon an old abandoned well on a hill. The footprints leading presumably from Barrett Carpenter's house lead us to a hidden entrance into what seems to be an underground cave system. We could enter here, but if this is a fortified location, you'll face the greatest resistance by entering the front door. So Antimony we see her dark eyes sort of narrow as she's making all these mental calculations. She is a witch. Intelligence is her prime attribute. So of course she's thinking tactically. She's trying to figure out, what is this place? Is this a fortified location? And if it is, this is the front door. This is where they brought him. This is the safest place for them to bring him. What about that well? Maybe Chandra whispers in Draconic. What about that well? Antimony, look at the well. It looks old and decrepit. There's no telling if the rope or support structure would hold. Okay. So, we have our first big decision, and maybe chat will help me make this decision, please, tonight. If we enter through the front door, we either go to 2 if we're using a light source, or we go to 3 if we have dark vision. And if we climb down the well, you go to 15 if you are small sized, or number 6, page 6, we have a climber's kit. We don't have a climber's kit, nor are we small sized. So the well is out of, no, the well is not going to work. And I don't have dark vision. So if we're going to go down there, we need light. Okay. Antimony nods. I guess it's the front door. I'm trying to think how she casts her spells. As far as I know, the remaster got rid of spell components. So all I know is that it has the light cantrip has the concentrate and manipulate. So she is manipulating something. I think and she does divine spells. So maybe it's a bit of a prayer where she's asking Desna and her patron to grant her the moonlight. And as she moves her hands apart, a small orb of light, if I'm reading the spell correctly, you create an orb of light that sheds. So literally a small orb of light that looks like the full moon sort of floats up, like maybe like hovering around her head a little bit, causing it to float near the creature as it moves. I love it. I love it. Okay, yes. So there's this moonlight, this orb of moonlight that's floating behind her, around her. So go to number 2 if we're using a light source. Luckily, that's right ahead. Stepping into the hidden entrance, Antimony finds herself walking down a natural stony incline. As try as she might, those hobnailed boots are click-clacking down the stone floor. The first room she enters is a spacious stone cavern, about 60 feet across. To the left from the entrance, she sees 2 square alcoves. One holds a strange metal cylinder standing upright while the other is empty. She sort of cocks her head and the moonlight raises to try and see deeper into the cavern, when all of a sudden there's like fluttering above. Darting down from the shadowy recesses of the ceiling, about 30 feet up, we see 2 tiny insect-like creatures with bat-like wings flying down at us, ready to attack. We're in combat with Blood Seekers. Oh, jeez Louise. Okay. All right. And let's pull up Blood Seekers. If you're new to Pathfinder, I fully recommend utilizing Archives of Nethys. You can find anything you need on there for free. Bloodseekers, they are what you think they are, ravenous, blood-sucking creatures. So we can see a nice image of one here. There are 2 of them. They begin combat 30 feet in the air and roughly 15 away from you in different directions, meaning that unless we move first and get closer, they must spend 2 actions each moving into melee with us before finally attacking. Okay, so they're far enough unless I move forward. I don't know if I'm going to move forward. And then they will try and attach. I've dealt with Bloodseekers before. No, not Antimony perhaps, but Chrifu. Okay, let's start with initiative, I think. Okay, I've got 3 dice. One of them is Antimody's. The other are the Bloodseekers. I'm gonna start keeping notes. Ooh, okay. They both, I don't even need to do the math. They both go first, meaning they begin flying on her, converging 2 actions to fly, to move into melee with me. The first one, I'm freaking out. I shouldn't have done a witch. I should have done something more martial. Okay. The first Bloodseeker flies down towards her, reaching out a barbed leg to strike. Natural 20. This is ridiculous. This is ridiculous. No! No! Okay. Okay, luckily, it doesn't actually do any damage. It just attaches. That's wild. Okay, alright, if there's anything for a critical hit to come down on, that's the one. Okay. So, yes, the effect, though, is attach. When a Bloodseeker hits a target larger than itself, its barbed legs attach. It's now flat-footed as it, like, comes down on her shoulder, piercing through her beautiful feather mantle. And attaches. It's flat-footed while attached, and then it needs to spend a third action to blood drain. That means it can't do anything right now. Okay, perfect. The next one comes, flutters. Natural 20. Are you kidding me? Okay, get the crits out for the enemies now. What the frick? I literally have 3 dice here, and all 3 of them have 20s. That's... I don't even know what to do with that. Okay, but it's Antimony's turn now. They haven't done any blood draining, and they're flat-footed while attached. If the Bloodseeker is killed or pushed away, while attached to a creature it has drained blood from, that creature takes 1 persist damage. Escaping the attach or removing in other ways doesn't. Okay, so I need to be careful. But Antimony... I don't know. Okay, I've got 3 actions. First action, I'm going to draw a dagger. She draws a dagger from her waist. I've literally got 2 Bloodseekers attached to her. One on the front, maybe one like that's like come down on her neck, these tiny creatures, and she's struggling with them. I have some hexes. So I am going to start with... Yes. I'm going to start with a hex. As she concentrates. So she... Okay, I draw the dagger, first action. Antimony struggles. And then this moonlight begins to fill, sort of glow from within the dagger as she casts a hex. Stoke the Heart. It's a single action focus cantrip, so I'll make sure I use that focus there. And this will empower her strikes and give us +2 damage. +2 damage on these attacks, if I can hit. But the creature is flat-footed. Okay. Third action, she takes the dagger, and literally the one here, the first one that attached to her herself, she brings it down, and it's almost like she's plunging it onto her heart herself. Okay, 9 plus 6 is 15. AC 16. However, the Bloodseekers are flat-footed, which means their AC is 14. It hits. Let's roll some damage. Come on. That's 1 plus 1 plus 2, 4 points of damage. Unfortunately, it's not dead yet. It's almost dead. And that was all 3 of her actions. Yikes. Okay. The Bloodseekers now have 3 actions. And they could just drain blood per each time. Oh no. Am I about to die? And they gain temporary hit points. And I become drained. She's gonna die. Literally, we step into the cave and she dies. This is ridiculous. Ridiculous! Okay, I'm gonna give her the drained condition. Why? I went into the cave with light. Of course I'm gonna die. Bloodseekers. Okay, 4 points of damage. Great, great. I have 20 hit points, by the way. 4 points of damage. As one action. Why wouldn't it just drain for 3 actions? I think that's what it would do. And it has to be attached. There's no reason why. And it gains 4 temporary hit points. Wow. Wow, 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 wow. I have to get out of here. I have to get out of here. Okay. I'm literally rolling 2 more blood drains. So that's 1. And another 4 points of damage. 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 altogether. Just from that first one. Literally within seconds, her life force is draining out of her. And the second one, I mean, I don't even know. I need to now calculate how many. Well, I said 6, 7, 8, 9 temporary hit points. There's no way. There's no way. And the second one, 5, 6 points of damage, and gains 6 temporary hit points. So within 2 rounds, she's down to 5 hit points. She's lost 15 hit points and has drained 1. I have to get this thing off of her. I'm freaking out. I'm freaking out. I'm about to die. If you fail to the Bloodseekers, go to 16. Okay. Okay, that's fine. That's fine. Let's do... So I need to get them off of me. They're attached, flat-footed. I can push it away, perhaps? Or maybe if I do like a escape check. Push away. So like we'll call that like an athletics, a grapple. Let's see, push. Shove. You push a creature away from you. Attempt an athletics check against the target's fortitude DC. I have to hit a 15, and her athletics is +5. Okay, I mean, that's not impossible. Don't forget, we have hero points, so she has a hero point. Okay. First off, she tries to literally push one of them off, and fails on a natural 6. No. This is ridiculous. This can't be. Okay. I'm going to do... Okay, that was my first action. Second action, no. Free action as a focus spell. I'm going to cast Patron's Puppet. At your unspoken plea, your patron temporarily assumes control over your familiar, allowing it to take actions. Normally familiars can't attack, but Chandra has got to do something and has an athletics check, so could potentially spend 2 actions to push them off. Chandra doesn't even have to spend a stride action because she's already on Antimony's person. Antimony is freaking out internally. She has a very dispassionate demeanor, so very calm, emotionless, but inside she's struggling and is stressed, is panicking. And her patron recognizes that and pushes Chandra to act. The blue flame wisp comes up and goes to the first one on her heart and tries to push it away. Natural 20. Chandra pushes the Bloodseeker off, at which point where we gain bleed 1 as it's being removed. Chandra then gets a second action to push off the other Bloodseeker. It's a 2 on the die, so that's not going to work. But Antimony still has 2 actions left. I think I need to heal myself, because if I don't, I'm about to fall to these things. I don't have any potions, but I do have 2 scrolls of heal. So at the very least, I can spend an action pulling out a scroll, and then casting it, giving myself, I think, 1d8 hit points. We have to. She does that. Second action, pulls out the scroll, opens it, and as she does, the light begins to come around her, healing her 6 hit points. Okay. Heal damage. She's back up to 11 hit points. Alright. Back to the Bloodseekers. The first one needs to reattach. However, I don't want to. I don't want to. I think it got some blood and it's gonna fly away. We cannot TPK. We cannot kill her right away. So the first one got some blood, was singed by that strange creature, and I think is like by Chandra, the familiar, and flitters back up into the dark recesses of the cavern above. However, one Bloodseeker is still attached, so that's 3 more blood trains for a total of 5, 6. Okay, all of the damage that I healed is gone. However, I'm still standing. Okay. I don't even know how many temporary hit points it has now. There's no way she's going to be able to stab it to death because it's gorged itself on her blood. Oh, and Antimony should have taken 1 point of damage from the bleed on her chest. Although I think having healed herself, that bleed also disappeared. Huh? Yes? Bleed? I'm pretty sure. Double checking my rules. Bleeding. Bleeding finisher. Fleeing. I was reading on persistent damage. I might be thinking of first edition or Starfinder. I always get a little confused. Persistent damage runs its course and automatically exceeds. Runs its time out. Bleeding. If you're healed to your full hit points, bleed damage ends. Oh, okay, so she's still bleeding. She took that 1 hit point. Oh, 2 of them. 1 Bloodseeker would have been bad enough, but 2 of them. Okay, we're back to Antimony though. I have no focus points. Her dagger is glowing with the extra damage, but I can't. Okay, I'm gonna spend my first action commanding Chandra again, getting those 2 athletics checks. I mean, even with a +2, it's 2 chances for Chandra to push this Bloodseeker off of her. One of them is a 14, so that'll hit. 16. The DC was 15. Chandra is able to push the Bloodseeker off of her, and I think she literally needs to frickin' turn and run out of there. She spends 2 actions fleeing and running back up top. Jesus Christ. Okay. The second Bloodseeker, having gorged itself on her blood, flees back upstairs. Well, that she takes another point of bleed. I don't think she takes... The Bloodseeker is killed. That creature takes 1 persistent bleed damage. I don't think the persistent bleed damage is going to stack, so she's still bleeding 1. She'll take 1 point of bleed damage. She runs back up out of the cave, where to that onto the hill and the well. For her next turn, she's going to pull out that second heal scroll and I think do a 2-action heal with it, so that she can at least get the plus an extra 8 hit points on it. Okay. 4. So she'll get 12 hit points back. That was 3 actions again. 12 hit points back. 12. No, hold on. Yeah, okay. 12 will bring her back up to 15 hit points. Oh, I should have been... I was freaking out. I should have been rolling a DC 15 flat check to see if the bleeding stops. There we go. On this last heal, the bleeding stops. She and Chandra literally sit on the cold, damp grass in the shadowy darkness on top of this hill, breathing heavily. She loses the drain condition because she healed herself, and she's no longer bleeding. But I managed to use both of my heal scrolls within the first 5 minutes of this adventure. She has a healer's toolkit, so I am going to pull that out and try and treat her wounds. Perfect. 16 plus 4 is 20. So I think that's 2d8, if I recall correctly, for treat wounds. She spends 10 minutes, and we'll get 2d8. Yes, that's correct. Okay. Which, at 15, she didn't even need that much. So she's back to full health. However, I've used up so many resources. That was 10 minutes of medicine, and I'm going to need to do another 10 minutes to refocus. I've never had more than 1 focus point. So I wonder, refocus only restores 1 focus point. Well, I have to do at least 1. Okay, so literally haven't even made it past the first chamber, and there's been 2 dungeon turns. I'll stay with the 1 focus point. And Timony breathes heavily. Like almost a half hour has gone by since she first tried to go down there. Hi. This is too dangerous. Chandra, perhaps we should call for the rest of the sect. I don't know if I can do this alone. I wonder if this counts as falling to the Bloodseekers. I do want to kind of pop ahead to 16 just to see. This is what I almost always do this with Choose Your Own Adventures. Sort of like, okay, what happens if I do that? So, because if number 16 is you die, it's over, then that's it. Yeah, as the tiny creatures bury their needle-like beaks in your flesh, you feel them draining the blood from you. You grow weak, and your eyesight dims as a flame of life burns out within you. You have died, unfortunately. You can choose to restart the adventure if you wish, or just rewind to before the point before where you died. Try to be more careful next time around. Ugh, well, great. So, we didn't fall, we didn't die to them, and we're not going to rewind. I did manage to escape that, but all the heal spells are gone. It's very dangerous. I wonder if I can buy a climbing kit real quick. I have 1 gold and 9 silver. How much is a climbing kit? 5 silver. Okay. So I'm going to buy that, and we're going to go down the well. this time. Okay. We go down the well. As we climb down the well. Number 6. That was right? Number 6? Number 6 if you were small sized or have a climber's kit. Okay. Number 15 probably would have been you die as you fall down. We bought a climber's kit though because we had it. I wanted to make sure I left enough gold over just in case for what have you. She uses the climbing kit. Maybe ran back to town, bought one real quick from the night merchant. Some sort of Damphir vampire, which would be quite common in Nidal. Not quite common, but common enough. And we get down there, and the moonlight is still shining over her shoulder. In the back of the first room is a path down, seemingly natural, but with crude steps carved into the ground. They take Antimony to a smaller cavern, roughly in the shape of a square with walls 35 feet long. While this may have once held water for the well above, the rope hangs in the empty air now, and you can faintly see the night sky above. Antimony sees another passage leading further down, but otherwise the room seems safe to rest in. You can take exploration actions in this room without danger at the cost of 1 dungeon turn each. In addition, roll a perception check against a DC of 18. Okay. Well, I'm not doing any dungeon turns because we did those up top. So let's start with the perception check. We can't wait for the sect. Barrett is in trouble. Antimony nods, knowing she must press forward. Okay, 10, 11, 12, 13 on the perception check. Do I use my 1 hero point on that? She hasn't earned another hero point, not yet. Not for running away and almost succumbing to those Bloodseekers. So no, we're going to fail the perception check. And we go to number 7 if we're using a light source. We are. Moving down further, you see more stairs carved into the natural stone floors. The path turns sharply to the right, opening up into a wide room with a low ceiling. The opposite wall of the room is about 45 feet away, but the floor only goes about 30 feet before a steep incline leads down deeper. Oh, I don't like that. Near the edge of this incline is a table made of black stone with restraints attached to either end and covered with various torture devices, staining the dull, rusty color of dried blood. However, oh, I love these creatures. Antimony sees reflecting the moonlight that's hovering around her, a strange creature, a tiny ball of exposed muscle with a razor-sharp metal plates bolted directly onto it, and a single bloodshot eye gazing at her as her hobnailed boots clack into the chamber. This creature is an augur. It's a type of chiton, a fiend, or I don't know. Are they fiends? Let's check. Chiton. No, augur is what it is. Because Velstrak is what it is. It is a fiend, and the Velstrak is they don't use chiton anymore in 2E. They're Velstraks. This is going to be tough. This is a creature 1, and she's all alone. There is a more recent version of this monster. The remastered version? Let's stick with this one then. Okay. It sees her. The augur is basically like an imp for the chain devils, the Velstraks. So you've got your lemur and your imps, as far as like devils and demons go, and then the augur is that sort of. But I mean, it's a little bit harder because it's a 1, and not a 0 or -1 challenge rating. Okay, let's roll initiative. Okay. I think I've got it beat. No. I got 23. It has 18, 19, 20, 21, 22, 23, 24, 25. It sees her on sight. This horde creature assumes that its harm spells won't work on you, having only interacted with people who are immune to it. If you use a heal spell, it will realize it can cast harm on you and begin to do so. Well, good thing I don't have any heal spells left. Otherwise, it will do its best to hang back above the pit on the far side of the room, sallying forth with whirling slice ability. The augur flies or strides, whirling as they move, so it like flies around and deals blade strikes to each creature whose space they enter. And that takes 2 actions. So in an attempt to damage you and retreat to a place where where melee attacks won't hit it. The augur knows nothing but this room and will not leave it. And we can attempt to recall knowledge. That does take an action. Okay. The augur, this ball of steel, muscle and sinew trapped in steel and blades and chains, whirls out at her. And it's going to... The augur flies or strides, whirling as they move. It deals the damage of their blade strike to each creature whose space they enter. Oh, wow. So it just does the damage? No, it must be a strike. The augur deals the damage of their blade strike to each creature whose space they enter. DC 16, basic reflex save. It's a basic save, which means even if she saves, it'll do half damage. Okay, 17 plus 6. It's not a critical, but it is a save. And these blade strikes, it's only 1d4 minus 1 slashing damage, plus 1d4 persistent bleed. Wonderful. Okay, so 3, it does 1 point of damage, and is going to add some persistent bleed, which that'll be 2 bleed on her. Wonderful. And we're going to go ahead and subtract that immediately as it slices through her, ripping the side of her beautiful feather mantle. The wound begins to bleed again. Okay, she takes persistent damage. This time I'm going to remember to do my flat check. She's still bleeding, but that's fine. It flies away from her. It's got a fly speed of 40 feet, but it could not have moved that far. The opposite wall of the room is about 45 feet away. It had to go at least... It will hang back above the pit on the far side of the room. So it had to have flew towards her and then done a whirling slice and flown back. So I'm going to say it's at least 20 feet away. So it's not yet above the pit like it wanted to be, because she wasn't fully in the room just yet. I have a hand crossbow, but I kind of want to just take my staff and beat the shit out of it with both hands. Oh my god, and you know what? I have the shield cantrip as well. Too many options. Too many options. Let's start off with a recall knowledge. If you succeed at an attempt to recall knowledge. Okay. Recall. I think this would be religion. There it is. Fiend religion DC 15. Religion. She's got a +4 on this. But you know what? I'm going to use Netherworld lore instead, because this is right up her alley. This thing's straight out of the Netherworld. She gets a +8 on that. And that's a natural 20. All right, let's go to number 20. If you succeed at an attempt to recall knowledge on the augur, you learn that it has regeneration, which is deactivated by good damage, or damage dealt with silver weapons. This means that with certain specific exceptions from death effects, an augur cannot be killed unless you deal damage that disables its regeneration. Oh, it is in your best interest to retreat. Okay, so she looks at it knowing I don't have a silver weapon, nor do I deal spirit damage, because technically I'm in a weird space where I've used the remaster rules for her, but this thing isn't necessarily. I don't have the remastered rules for the augur just yet. She knows, though, it's in her best interest to flee. If you found no other way down, add one dungeon turn to your count and go to 11. Which way? Ugh, where was I? What number was I on? If you defeat the augur, go to 9. If you fail, go to 18. Well, we haven't defeated it, but there's got to be a way. Well, it said if you found no other way down. Let's see what 11 does. Turn to make sure you've missed something. You scour the rooms you've cleared until you finally find 2 hidden passages. Both are the same natural caves with steps carved into them. You find these passages in the first and second rooms of the cave system. Okay, so she must run from this thing. I mean, that's all we're doing, basically, is running from everything we see in here. I don't even know if I have a chance. It's got 14 HP, and without good or silver, I do have something I could use to do some good damage. But I need all 3 actions to be able to do it. What if instead I start... No, I don't know. Okay. We are going to use a focus point and cast Life Boost. Yes. So she breathes in, and the moon orb that's floating around her like pulses as she gains fast healing 2 for 4 rounds. Okay. Fast healing 2. So third action. Well, I could raise a shield, but if it's doing the whirling slices, that's not going to help. Third action. This is so hard. Third action. I don't know if the shield will do anything. It gives you AC. Well, I can use it to reduce damage from spell or magical effect. Even if it does. So it does have hardness 5. So it would reduce the damage she takes. Okay. Let's do this. She... you know what? She's gonna cast shield as she breathes in, and that pulsing light from the moon, the moon that's orbiting her, pulses, filling her with fast healing. Like a shield of moonlight and glow covers her. So we're gonna be able to at least reduce some damage, I think. Yes, so I can use the shield block reaction to try and reduce some of the damage coming in. Yes, prevents you. And it would, if I do... Yeah, then the spell ends. Okay. So to put a shield around her as she's focusing. The augur whirls, its chains clinking once more, and she's going to make a reflex save. And passes, so she'll take 1 point of damage again. No, I shouldn't have shielded. Okay, she'll take 1 point of damage, and then as she bleeds, it's another 4 points of damage. So that's 5 points of damage. She bleeds. She is still bleeding, but for the second round, she will gain another 2 hit points back from her fast healing. And this time, she spends all 3 actions chanting and focusing and praying. And as she does, there's a burst of light. And out of that orb that's orbiting her, the moon that's orbiting her, a silvery eagle flies out as she casts Summon Lesser Servitor and brings a celestial eagle onto the field. Okay, that's how I'm doing my good damage against this thing. The eagle immediately spends its first action flying to the augur, and for its second action will do a beak attack. That's 10. Is not gonna hit. AC 17. Oh gods. Oh gods. This is going so badly. This is going so badly. But instead of focusing its attention on antimony now, the augur, it's got an eagle right in front of its face. It can't actually do the whirling slice, but it can do several blade strikes. Okay, first one is an 18. That'll hit my eagle for 1 point of damage plus persistent bleed. We'll add that. That'll come on the eagle's turn. It's got 2 more blade strikes as it's just sort of flying around my eagle. The second one misses, and the third one misses also. Okay, so my eagle takes 2 points of damage. We come back to Antimony's turn. The eagle takes 1 point of damage, is bleeding, and Antimony takes 1 point of damage. Still has fast healing on. Has 1 more round after that. So actually, instead of taking damage, Antimony heals 1 damage. She concentrates, sustains the spell, so this eagle will stay to help her. And now the eagle itself will get 2 actions. I'm going to start off with, as it tries to pierce its beak through the augur's. Come on, a natural 4? That's a 10. That's not going to hit. The augur avoids the celestial eagles, the moon eagle, silver eagle. Its beak and a natural 1. This eagle's not fucking doing shit. What about this pit? Can I go down this pit? Okay. Second action, Antimony goes over to the pit. The edge of it. The floor is at least 30 feet down. Though if you climb to the bottom of the pit before dropping, it would be more like 20 feet. It's actually, there's a well-lit room down below. And a pile of corpses, presumably dropped here when the torture they endured finally caused them to expire. I don't have time with this augur fucking with me. So I might just go down the pit. Okay. The augur won't leave the room, so third action. Chandra is looking up at Antimony from her shoulder. Antimony, in Draconic, the blue fire wisp says, what are you doing? Antimony holds on to her hat and jumps, hoping that the pile of corpses will soften her impact, as it does. She's going to take 7 points of damage. I guess I could have tried to climb down as my action. If you climb down to the bottom of the pit. I don't know. I mean, let's at least roll an athletics to see. That's a 9, 10, 11, 12, 13. She wouldn't have had enough time to climb down that far. She's moving. So no, she falls and drops and takes 7 points of damage. And she's still bleeding. Okay, great. However, the augur is focusing on the eagle. Stuff's going on up there. We're out of combat. It doesn't matter. Antimony is still bleeding, but she falls prone in the pile of bodies. This dungeon is incredible. For a solo adventure, yeah. I've only done one other solo adventure before with Pathfinder 2e, and that was from the beginner's box. And you didn't have a class. You just sort of did things and attacked. And I built a character out of that as we were going. It was sort of this shapeless form. This time I've come in with a character, and of course I rolled up something a little squishy, but I was inspired by the setting idea that this Nidalese woman who forsook her culture and decided to follow Desna and try and help people. We're still alive. That's all that matters. And I haven't had to rewind. Like, we haven't had a death. I'm going to give her a hero point for jumping down there. I think that was pretty brave of her. Okay. She's still taking 1d4 persistent bleed damage, and that was her last round of fast healings. I got a 1 on that, so she technically gets 1 hit point back. That spell life boost is over. Let's see. She's still bleeding. What do I do? I have a healer's toolkit. I don't know if I can use that to eat A1 purity medicine to stop the bleed. Manipulate. I can do first aid, treat disease, treat poison, treat wounds. Yeah. And treating wounds is going to take 10 minutes. So she could easily bleed out before that. I don't have... Oh, I can stop bleeding. Administer first aid. So attempt a medicine check on a creature, allowing them to make another flat check. Okay. So I have... She's prone. She's going to sit up. Technically, that's a free action. To stand, it's a full action. There are creatures in here, though. Oh, she just jumped. Oh, I'm so stiff. The stress is getting to me. She just jumped from one encounter into the next. Before we get any further into her turn, this room is about 40 feet wide and 50 feet long. There are 4 black stone pillars, each about 10 feet apart and arranged in a square. Standing within the pillars, taking notes and placing magical reagents and symbols here and there are 2 pale-faced men with sharp features and black hair wearing robes. At the sound of your body hitting the pile of corpses, they stop what they're doing, and one of them begins to approach to check on what happened. We cannot avoid being discovered, but with a successful stealth check, we can lure them closer before combat begins. Okay, I'm going to make a stealth check. I am multi-classed rogue, so... 16, okay, 16 stealth. She falls into the pile of bodies. And these 2 black-robed men... Let me pull up the adept stat block. It shouldn't be too bad. I mean, who knows? Oh, in addition to their normal stat blocks, these 2 are Dampfears, granting them negative healing. They will attempt to stay out of melee range when possible, relying on their Daze cantrip to try and knock you unconscious. AC 14, HP 8. Okay. She lays there, and they come towards her, the two of them. Maybe just it looks like you can lure the investigating. Yeah, they stop. So they both come over to the pile of corpses and sort of look through, look around. And she's going to catch them off guard. Because with the rogue multi-class, I have the surprise attack. I'm technically using stealth for initiative, and so they are off guard versus her next attacks. I don't have any weapons drawn, and I would still need to stand, but I'm going to do so. As soon as they get close enough to the pile, she stands up and draws her staff, holding it in two hands, and just literally, that's two actions. So for her third action, literally just tries to whack one of the adepts with the staff. Okay. What did I say their AC was? 14. So they're off guard. So she just needs a 12, and she's rolling +5. Not impossible. No, that was cocked. +5 is 16. She hits, and she's doing 1d8 damage. 8! Oh my gosh! And they have 8 hit points. Okay! Yes! All right. Antimony pops up, whacks the first adept across the head with the staff, literally killing him, knocking him dead as he falls onto the pile. The other adept looks shocked as he sees this woman and the moon glow, the moon that's now orbiting around her, knowing exactly what that means. He's going to spend, if one of the adepts is killed, the other will attempt to flee if reduced to half HP. If it succeeds, it will join its boss in the next room and wait for you. Okay, it hasn't been reduced to 8 HP yet. Hi, Deardy Bloom. Thank you for joining. Oh, okay. Antimony, this black-feathered witchy woman, standing there with her staff. The adept moves back away from her about, what's their speed? 25 feet. And will cast Daze, which is a 2-action cantrip. And it's a will save. Okay, Antimony, we're going to make a will save now. Oh, that wasn't great. 8 + 6 is 14. DC 14. She just barely beats it. Wonderful. It's a basic save. So it would do, she's going to take half damage. The jolt deals mental damage equal to your spellcasting ability modifier. Which would be, what is their spellcasting ability modifier? Intelligence? Yes, it's got to be intelligence. So 3 points of damage. She takes 1 point of damage. But she's still bleeding from that fight up above. We come back to Antimony. First off, she takes 4 points of bleed damage, which brings her down to 6 hit points. And she's still bleeding. Oh, this is it. This is it for her. What do I have? I still have the staff. I need to move closer. Okay, one action. She strides towards the other adept and will just swing second action with her staff. A 19 plus 5 is 24, is a critical hit. For 4 points of damage times 2 is 8. She kills him dead, falling to the floor. Okay, the problem is we're still bleeding. And she has nothing to stop it. Third action, treat wounds to try and do it. She pulls out her healer's kit. Oh, no. That does nothing. Okay, we come back to her next round. She's bleeding still. Both of the adepts are dead. She takes 2 hit points, 2 points of damage. Flat check? No, doesn't pass. But she's got 3 actions now to administer medicine to try and stop this. First one, not enough. Second one is enough to give her a flat check. I'm gonna switch dice. So she's literally from where that auger was slicing, whirling and slicing. Not enough. Third action, treat wounds. Not enough. She's gonna bleed out in here. She's just literally going to bleed out. There's nothing in this room that will help her. Okay. Next turn, she takes 4 points of bleed damage. And falls to 0 hit points. Oh. They didn't call her to go unconscious. She bled out. So number 19 doesn't actually apply. Damn. Dead to bleed damage. That's wild. I had 2 hero points. I mean, I guess she's not dead. She's dying 1. But if I spend... Can I spend hero points to get back in the game if I spend them all? To avoid death. You lose the dying condition and stabilize with 0 hit points. You don't gain the wounded condition or increase its value. I don't think that wakes her up. Can I roll hero points on flat checks? Yeah, I mean, we have to try. Otherwise it's over now. Okay, spending a hero point, making a flat check to see if this bleeding can stop before she bleeds out. No. Okay, spending second hero point, switching to my last d20. 15! Using all of her heroic reserves, she finally gets the bleed on her, the cuts on her arms to stop bleeding. And she's in this room. These 2 dead adepts. Okay. I need to refocus. I need to treat wounds. Yeah, it is, this is wild. Okay, let's, I don't even know where to start with this. Let's first take stock. She's in this room, these 4 black stone pillars arranged in a square. She looks around at these pillars. They're magical reagents and symbols. Who knows what these men were doing here? But on one of their bodies, she finds an ornate journal with a black cover and a silver filigree. Begins flipping through with Chandra sort of on her shoulder, peering down onto the book as well. And Timony, as she's flipping through, it seems they were observing magical experiments involving the torture of sentient beings. Awful. Go to number 12. Is this right? We're not... Okay, we're not moving forward yet, though. Because I need to do... So number 12, it looks like dungeon turns are coming into play. I have to do more dungeon turns before we do this. When you enter this room, roll 2d4 plus 1. If the total is equal to or less than the number of dungeon turns you've taken, then Barrett has perished from the tortures inflicted upon him. Okay, before we finish reading that, though, I've spent 2 dungeon turns. What was it, 2d4 plus 1? Okay, so minimal 3. I have to spend some time. Okay. Okay. We're gonna treat wounds. This is hard. She only gets a +4 on this, but I need to do something to get my hit points back. Oh my, and it works. Okay. Dungeon turn number 3, and she's getting 2d8 hit points back. Come on. Come on, Desna. Double 8s. 16 hit points. She's almost back to full. 20 hit points now. 20 out of 22. Okay. Perfect. I half want to refocus, but we don't have time. 2d4 plus 1. If I get a 3, Barrett is dead. If I refocus and get a 4, he'll also die. I don't think that's necessarily going to happen, but I think we move forward. Okay. Roll 2d4 plus 1. If the total is equal to or less than the number of dungeon turns you have taken, then Barrett has perished. Okay, no, I rolled double 4s on this. That's 9. I could have taken many more dungeon turns, but that's fine. So Barrett is still alive. As she moves into the next chamber, this room seems to be sort of common living quarters. Though irregularly shaped, it's roughly 35 feet across in any direction, with the exception of a large alcove with 3 beds and a rusty cage. Staring into the center of the room as if in a trance is a mad-looking hermit holding a book bound in some sort of leather. You know what that means. It's got to be human skin. And holding a wicked dagger with wavy edges. He mutters to himself continuously, and sensing your presence, casts his eyes wildly about the room. When he sees you, he bellows, "An intruder! If you wish to offer your flesh to our cause, so be it!" Okay, we're in combat with this cultist. He's a damn fear. Luckily, we got both of the adepts, so I guess we could have attempted to sneak into this room. You know what? Let's do that. I want to roll stealth. She's a rogue. She would have done that. I want to roll stealth for my initiative. Okay, let's pull up the cultist stat block. Cultist. Not occultist. There we go, cultist. Perfect. So I'm rolling stealth versus his perception. Perception. Where is it? +4. Okay. That's a 10 for his perception, and that is a 13 for my stealth. Just barely. She sneaks in, causing him to be flat-footed to me if we beat them in the initiative, the off guard, which would happen anyway because I'm using surprise attack. Creatures that haven't acted are off guard. Okay. That's fine. She sneaks in and, let's say, still catches him, but he's off guard, at least in this first round. He will fight to the death, activating his fanatical frenzy as soon as he is able to, and attempting to incapacitate me. And once he hits me normally, he's going to try and do non-lethal damage and take me alive. I don't want to be taken alive. That's worse than dying to this thing, to this person, I think. Barrett is in the cage, most likely, and still alive. Although it might be hard for her to see. But first we fight. I get to go first. I have staff in hand. But I think... honestly... yes. So I need to start casting my spells now. Staff in hand, she holds it and making somatic manipulations, like figures with her fingers. Pulls her, throws her hands out wide as magical energy comes off of her, her voice emanating Galadriel style, and casts command. Bow before me, you peasant! And it needs to make a will save or spend its turn like bowing. DC 18 against her. Will is +4. So... aha! With a 13, that's a 17 on the will save. Okay, perfect. And she's going to spend her third action striding directly up to him. Is that the right move? Striding up to him? No. Third action, she then will cast Shield as the moonlight begins to protect her again. Okay. Great. Wonderful. It wasn't a critical fail, so he spends his first action. He falls down to his knees, bowing before her, before realizing, no, your foul Desnin magics won't work here, and stands up as his second action. And third action, he already has the wavy dagger in hand, so he's just going to stride straight up to her. Okay, but that's all three of his actions. I'm then going to spend... okay, it comes back to Antimony. This is so cool. She will cast her last spell, Runic Weapon, as again she moves her hand over the staff and it begins to glow with these runes made of moonlight, causing her staff to become a +1 striking weapon, so she'll get +1 to attack rolls and double the damage dice. That's 2 actions to cast, so for her third action she will strike. This is going to be with a +6 now. That's a 16 on the die, AC 17, so that definitely hits, and we're doing 2d8 damage. +1. Nice. Hold on. 2 hands. Yes, +1. Okay, hell yes. 13, 14 points of damage. He has 20 hit points, so... oh, hell yes. She literally smites him with moonlight. Cultist. 14 points of damage. Amazing. It comes back to him. He like rears back from the strike. This bruise forming across his chest where she just smote him. And he's going to spend his first action flying into a fanatical frenzy. Desnin whore! He cries out. He'll also get so he's going to get a +1 to attack and +2 to damage and -2 to AC. So he's got 2 more actions. Will second action, try and stab with the dagger. 7 + 7 is 14, +1, because he's in a frenzy. My AC is 18, and he got a 15. So he like tries to pierce her, and she slides her leather armor. She's wearing studded leather armor, actually, absorbing most of the blow. I think even because she did No, I didn't. The shield went off. So, yeah, that's his first one. And then he's just going to stab again with only a +3 this time and completely swipes at the air. She's still glowing with this radiant moon energy. And literally, I have 3 actions now. We'll just literally take her staff and try and beat him to death. Perfect. That's a 20. That's gonna hit, and it's a runic weapon, so she's doing 2d8 plus 1. 5, 6, 7. Another 8 points of damage, and he's down. Literally, as he tries to stab her, missing, she just swings across him, knocking him to the floor, dead. I can't believe I made it. I can't believe I made it. To be fair, we did some hand waving, but holy shit. Desna was smiling upon us today. Okay. Barrett is still alive. Antimony, her beautiful feather mantle filled with cuts, revealing the black studded leather beneath. She's got bleed marks everywhere. Blood covering her clothes. She runs over to the cage. Dull spikes line the interior of the cage, causing discomfort to whoever is trapped inside. We see who's trapped inside. Barrett, barely breathing and covered in horrific wounds. Bones broken, fingernails removed, portions of his skin flayed off. He is, however, alive. She checks the cultist's body. Should have done that first. He has a key, as well as a pouch containing gold. 48 gold pieces, 67 silver pieces, and 62 copper pieces. Whoa! And the book bound in human flesh. I mean, for real, when they say it's some sort of leather, you know it's human flesh. Filled with nearly incomprehensible scrawls. Could be worth some money, though, so we take it. Using the key to the cage, we get Barrett out. We take him back, leaving the way we came in. Well, the way we came in, we know that there's at least an auger. I don't even know. I jumped down a pit, so I don't know how to get back up there. And we know that there are some blood seekers, but maybe we're able to avoid those. Desna's luck. Desna is a luck goddess, and somehow the luck was with us tonight. She picks Barrett up, sort of with one arm over her shoulder. I mean, we could take some time. She could try and treat his wounds. Maybe we spend 10 minutes as she tries to treat his wounds. She could refocus and cast some my fast healing spell, life boost, to give him that at the very least. But once we sort of montage out of this, and we see Barrett spending a great deal of time recovering in the local herbalist's makeshift infirmary. I imagine a sort of, maybe like a white-haired, black-eyed elf who could be on the side of our Desnan sect, perhaps, filled with herbs. Eventually, in this sort of silent montage with music playing over it, we see Barrett sort of like Antimony going to visit him, Barrett nodding and telling her what happened, how he was kidnapped from his home and taken to that cave where the 3 men that she killed tortured him in pursuit of some magical ritual. From what he heard, he was a random victim, and his choosing had nothing to do with his activities as a dissident. But the experience has broken him, and he will no longer be a part of our quiet rebellion. He thanks Antimony for the rescue and gives her 22 gold pieces, his life saving. I don't know if we can accept that. She just picked up 48 gold pieces from this weird hermit. No, Antimony says, no. Barrett, you've done so much for our cause. And I'm so sorry this happened to you. Keep your gold. Live your life. Get out of Nidal. And may Desna bless your travels. Antimony with Chandra, maybe one night as the moon is in full glow, piercing through that sort of ever cloudy haze above, lighting up the space. She goes back to that hill and the well and the cave. Chandra, the blue familiar, fire familiar, is there. Chandra, I only hope the strange torture cult isn't sign of more danger to come. And Chandra nods, and they both look up to the moon, and credits begin to roll. Damn! Oh, we did it! We defeated the cultists and adepts, and we saved Barrett. Apparently, they served as a branch of a greater cult of Valstrak-worshipping Nidalee citizens. This pain cult is likely to notice the loss of one of their branches and begin investigating, unless we take the fight to them first. Future entries in this land will detail further adventures. Okay. That was Blood on Black Stone. That was super stressful. That was super, super stressful. I feel like I feel like I did not roll up the right kind of character for this. Although, to be fair, not only did we survive, we killed the cult, and we saved Barrett's life. He did survive. And while I hand waved a little bit, I don't think any of my hand waving was completely out of pocket. There was none of it is something that a good GM wouldn't have also done. I mean, we otherwise we would have TPK'd in that first cavern, but we ran away and we decided to go down the well. Not in running away, I used up both of my heal scrolls. I still had a scroll of Concordant Choir, which I was thinking about using. It would have been great to use that on the two adepts in that corpse room, but I bought it with the idea that she was studying the scroll and was planning it on adding it to her spell repertoire as something witches can do. I might end up doing that as I level her up to 3rd level, and we'll see if we see Antimony again. Thank you so much for watching, everyone in chat, or those of you who are catching this on YouTube. If you're catching this in real time, I want to point out next Wednesday, Marcus is back on Horde of Tales with a creator talk interviewing Neil of Fey Earth. Fey Earth is as a TTRPG with a Kickstarter coming soon that, if I recall correctly, is an alternate Earth, obviously, where Fey and humans live side by side in a sort of 20th century vibe, technology-wise. And then that's Wednesday, March 6th, and then next Friday, March 8th, on International Women's Day is we're kicking off the Women in Gaming Month. Throughout the entirety of March, starting March 8th, you will only see women and femme identifying people on our channel, and I think 12 different games. We've also have a very special Women in Gaming Month edition flight of the EU Happy Hour, where Anya from Lalion Cosplay will be GMing a Candela Obscura game. So definitely check all of that out. Follow us on socials. And if you really liked this adventure and want to play it through yourself, go ahead and check it out on Pathfinder Infinite. Blood on Black Stone. I think it was like $2, so it was a very nice buy for a good 2 hours of gameplay, about an hour and a half. I'd be curious about going through it again with a different character. There were some parts we definitely missed. Some parts I feel like there was a lot of climbing and jumping, and I definitely don't think I explored the entirety of the cavern, just because I could feel as soon as it said dungeon turns, keep track of the time you spend. I was like, okay, there's a time clock click ticking here, and I'm a bit of a completionist, and I didn't want Barrett to die. It would have been really sad to have gone through all of that and have him be dead at the end. That's it for me. Thank you so much, everyone, and have a good night.